What is up, guys? Welcome back to Base Damage. We got Bang Dream had a 5th anniversary. I did not know it had a. This isn't even a trial deck. It's an intro deck. Like this is what the packaging comes in terms of the size of my hand to the box. It's honestly interesting because I have looked at a couple of the cards in the intro deck slash trial deck, but I'm going to treat this as like one of my typical trial by fire videos, like bringing that back from way back when. Yeah, so supposed to be a pure red deck, a level 1 Yukina combo off of a salvage trigger, and a level 3, I think it was a Kasumi level 3 that works, a climax combo off of a +2 soul. Which honestly was kind of intriguing because it did like some burn shenanigans based off the Kasumi soul. And you're supposed to be able to get like SRs in it. I bought 2 because I don't know the ratios. Maybe it's got a playset of everything in here, I don't know. I literally haven't even looked. Like, this is still very much sealed. So let's open one, see how it looks. And if it's like, I don't know if there's supposed to be like guaranteed like SRs or something, or if there's, let's see. Okay, intro deck exclusive cards. 2 of the 50 are shiny. Random 2 out of 7 types. So it is like random as to which 2 you get. Maybe they'll have a price difference. It's also supposed to have a playmat, a rule sheet, a deck manual, pre-constructed 50 card deck. You may obviously you can mix. So you got your playmat here, typical playmat for the game. The rule sheet thing, who needs that? Very top card is a Kasumi. So maybe the foils are in the back, like a typical opening. Okay, so there are 2 copies of this, so I'm assuming it probably is like trial deck stuff. You're going to have 4 copies of... Oh, that's only 1 copy. Maybe this is one of the ones that could be shiny. So I might go over each card individually, but we're going to do the opening first. There's the level 1 combo, the Yukina. So, which is cool, because that means if there are some that are shiny, I can replace those for like an actual deck. For like a trial by fire testing. Well, there are shinies in the back. So we got the Ron and the Aya. So that's cool. So you do get at least 2 of everything like a trial deck. The Ron is a on stage, if you have 2 or more Anniversary or Afterglow, draw a card, pitch a card. On attack, pick an Anniversary or Afterglow, it gains 1500 power. The Aya, it's a level 3. Heal on play, when it attacks, pay 2, pitch 2, deal 2. So that's really cool. See, there's the +2 soul. You use it for the Kasumi, which you do get, because there's one in the back, you get a play set of the level 3 combo. Honestly, I'm surprised at that. No, I don't think the ones that are only 2 copies of in the deck may... so there's a chance that the Yukina can be there. So these are the other 5. So these are like the other cards it could possibly be for the other deck. So let's pop that bad boy open and see which ones we get. So I'm going to treat this like a typical trial by fire. I'm going to eventually make a... I'm opening these. I'm going to put together the deck, like in case I want to bump up the ratios or change ratios. And then we will go from there. For being able to just use this outright, I know there's a lot of... there are people who have posted up deck profiles already. I think Tressa's Collectibles posted up one already. Shout outs. Hashtag not sponsored. So, alrighty. So we got these 2 for the first one. So we know that it's supposed to be at the very back. Let's just go ahead. We got, who are you? Oh, Mashiro. And the level 3 Kasumi. That's cool. Alright, so there are like chances of each of these being foils and whatnot. Or are these just classified as... They're just classified as SRs. But I don't know if you can see this. Like, the foiling is better than a typical SR. It looks like a triple rare. I don't know how well the camera can pick that up. But like holding, and honestly, the feel of it is like a triple rare instead of an SR. Yeah, they all say SR. I guess because, well, no, I mean, trial deck cards still have triple rares, depending on the set. So, I don't know. They look and feel like triple rares, but they are labeled as SRs. So, interesting. All right, so I'm going to go over every single one of the cards and then proceed to make a deck profile for it. So, onwards to the next step. And we're back with part 2. Actually, having to post it up over here as well on the Weiss Schwarz simulator. And you don't have to do a whole terribly much in terms of upgrading the deck. There was actually more copies of cards in here than I realized. Like, even in one of the intro decks, you get a play set of the level 3 Climax combo. And I was honestly kind of surprised at that. Like, I remember when like Trial Deck Pluses first started, you had to obviously buy 2 of the, or typically if you bought 1 of the Trial Deck Pluses, you got 4 copies of a level 1 Climax combo. But whatever the level 3s in the deck were, you typically had to buy 2 of the Trial Deck to be able to get a play set of that. The only stipulation with this is, even though you get enough copies of a lot of cards, there are certain cards in here that can be higher rarity. So if you just want to sell off those higher rarity cards, you do have to go back and buy a couple of the individual cards. Like for me in particular, for this run, I'm going to have to like go buy another copy of it because I only have 3. After the intro deck opening, I only have 3 copies because I got one that was the higher rarity. I'm going to sell that off. But for the most part, a lot of these cards come in play sets, but I figured just finalize what I feel the final ratio should be. Obviously, like I said, the whole deck is red, so very simple. You don't have to worry about color lock or anything. It's all red. So first off, we start off with this Collecting Chances Kasumi Toyama. So 00500 has a bond. On play, you can discard a card to salvage back this Kokoro from the waiting room. It's a vanilla, it's whatever. Her second effect is very nice. Tap this, choose one of your anniversary or pop and party characters, and that character gets 2,000 power till end of turn. I'm only going to say anniversary characters from now on. Each of the girls also affect, if they have an effect like that, affect their specific band as well. Like Ron's from Afterglow. She's from, Layer is from Reza Sulin. Kasumi is from Pop and Party. So I'm just going to say anniversary from now on just to make it simpler. 3 copies of Costume Designer Yukina Minato. Up to 2 times per turn when your other anniversary character is placed on stage from your hand. This gets an extra 1,000 power till end of turn. And second effect is when your other anniversary character gets frontal attacked, you can pay 1 and sack this card to return that character that's getting frontaled back to your hand. This is especially useful with the level 1 Yukina if you know that it's probably going to die, because it is a little bit weak defensively. That's perfectly fine. She makes up for it in how big she gets with the other cards in this deck. So you may want to bounce that back, and that way you can have a way to reuse her Climax combo every turn. 3 copies of that. 3 copies of the Brainstormer of the deck, Encouraging Melody Aya Maruyama. At the beginning of your Climax phase, this is my only gripe with this Brainstormer, is it gives a buff, but a lot of these cards that give the buffs to like the specific level 1 or the specific level 3 typically are a constant buff, like a constant 1,000 buff. If you look at any of the Hololive trial decks, they do the same thing for that because they'll typically run a level 1 and a level 3 Climax combo as well, and they'll have cards that buff both, and that's perfectly fine. For this one is at the beginning of your Climax phase, if you have 2 or more other anniversary characters, choose specifically 1 copy of the level 3 Kasumi or a copy of the Yukina, and it gets 1,000 power and +1 soul until end of turn. Now, obviously, the reason this is only a 1 thing is because it's also giving the extra soul. But to me, I would prefer just a constant 1,000 buff. That's just me. Because if you're pulling off the Climax combo as well, you're already getting soul from this because it's a 1k1 salvage trigger. As well as if you're dropping the Kasumi one, like I understand the argument can be made for the level 3 Kasumi combo as well to increase her soul for her effect. But to me, it's already going to do more than enough. I don't feel the extra soul is going to make a difference. That's just me. And typical trial deck Brainstormer effect of pay 1, tap this, mill 5 for each of the Climaxes revealed, draw 1 card. 4 copies of this Tell Us Your True Feelings, Ron Mitake. When this is placed on the stage from your hand and you have 2 or more other anniversary characters, you may draw 1 card. If you do, discard 1 card. Fair enough. And when this attacks, choose one of your anniversary characters. It gets 1500 power until end of turn. This is very relevant between this being able to buff and the level 0 Kasumi being able to tap and buff to make certain that your Yukina is able to get her reverses off. So both of these cards are very good for that. And then just kind of have a beat stick, Wild Pop Layer. We have 3 copies of it. All of your it's a 4K level 0, so it has a drawback. The drawback is all your opponent's characters get a reduced encore. They only have to pay 2 stock to encore. But, that's whatever. This next one's going to look a little wonky, but just go with me on this. There wasn't any level 3, there wasn't any level 2 backups in the trial deck, so we're just capping out on 4 copies of the free 2K backup. A Tough Punk Ran Mitake. So just free 2000 backup, really good. Play set of the Kokoro, bang, exclamation point, on the scene, Kokoro Tsurumaki. So it's a vanilla, it's a 1055, but with, like, say, the Kasumi, you can buff it up to a 1075 for the tap effect and everything. Since it does bond with her, I kind of figured I'd include that. But that's all good. She's just a little bit extra just to have, but you are honestly set with, like, say, your level 1 combo. You have the 1045, Our Future Together Yukina Minato. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other anniversary characters, it gets plus 2k power. That makes her a 1065. With the Salvage Climax combo, which we're going to talk in a second, that gives her an extra 1000, so that's a 1075. And we're going to bump that up further in a moment. Let's go over the combo first. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, if you have the Climax in play, and you have 2 or more other anniversaries, you can discard 1 card, search your deck for up to 2 anniversary characters, reveal them to your opponent, add them to your hand. This is really good, and you obviously, like, you can discard stuff like the Kokoro, since you can bond it back with this Kasumi anyway if you want. You can just purposely pitch extra little chumps, like extra little vanillas and the level 0s that you don't need in hand, and just craft out your level 2 and level 3 games so well, especially if you only get like 1 or 2 of these on field. But let's look at some buffing. So obviously, like I said, it'll get to a 1075. This Aya gives the extra 1000, so a 1085 with a total, with the Climax and everything, a total of 3 soul. Just saying. And then if you 1085, if you want to go even further beyond, the Kasumi gives an extra 2k to make it a 10-5, which is honestly crazy. And if you have to go even further than that, the Ran on attack gives an extra 15. That is a 12,000 attack Yukina. That is going to get over whatever the fuck you needed to go over. So you're going to get your reverse. I typically don't care for some of the on-reverse combos that are in trial decks, but this, because of how the rest of the trial deck plays out, this is just really strong overall. Even if you just look at the base of becoming a 1075, that's going to get over a lot of other stuff to begin with. In case you were like planning to put it in like a different Rosalia deck or another, like try to do another setup for the deck, you can get this girl pretty big. So that is the last of the level 1s. Then we have 2 copies of Conveying Passion Mashiro Kurata. It's a typical level assist, level in front times 500. So your level 2s and your level 3s will get like 1015. And it has a tap effect of tap discard, draw 1, discard a card. Once again, you get a lot of extras in hand because typically your back row is going to be like 1 copy of the Brainstormer and 1 copy of the Kasumi, just to get that tap every single turn to buff. And so everything else in terms of in your hand, you just have extra, so it's all good. So you get hand filtering with her, you get the pitching and searching with the Yukina, is really cool. 4 copies of this 216k, more Sakura, Kokoro Tsurumaki. This gets plus 2500 power for each other anniversary character in your backstage. So if you got those 2 in the back row, she's going to be a 2-1-11,000, which is just absurd. It's higher than most vanillas would ever get. So that is pretty cool. And she definitely has a field presence because it's not just like a during your turn effect. It's just a constant, which is great. So she could become an 11 if you use the Kasumi to buff a 13. Shit gets big. And that's it for the level 2s. Then we're going to go to the level 3s. I kind of want to go ahead and do the Aya first and then talk about the Climax combo and everything afterwards to round out the rest of the deck profile.
So 4 copies of Striving to be the Perfect Idol Aya Maruyama as a 3/2 10k. On play, you can heal 1. I feel with a healer, there's only 2 level 3s in the deck. You got to run a play set of each. Heal is important. When this card attacks, you may pay the cost, which is pay 2 stock and discard 2 cards. Deal 2 damage to your opponent. Then her damage comes through. This card puts in work. I'm not kidding when I say this. Like, this card just is like, okay, the Kasumi combo is really, really fun to do because it's all like free and shit. But this card puts in work. Do not underestimate it. And then, obviously, like I said, the last one and the climax combo for level 3 is this 3/2 10k Sakura Season Returns Kasumi Toyama. And the Brainstormer does buff her, so she can be a 11k 3 soul base. She climax combos with the +2 soul. But anyway, on play, you can search your deck for an anniversary character added to hand. And at the end of this card's attack, if the +2 soul Memories from Back Then is in your climax area, put the same number of cards as this card's soul from the bottom of your opponent's deck into their waiting room. Deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the number of climaxes amongst those cards. So she's swinging really, really hard. Typically, if you don't do the +1 soul from the Brainstormer, she's gonna have 4 soul. And it says at the end of this card's attack, it doesn't forget what soul it got in case you triggered one of your other cards that has an extra crit trigger. Like, say, if you somehow triggered the +2 soul on her attack. So let's say you did, that's 6 soul she's trying to poke for. Like, Sendai Soul Rush is looking at this going, hold up now. I thought we were the ones with the big soul damage amounts. Which you can side as well to get like guaranteed amounts of damage if you want. But if you side and you get reduced soul, it's going to make you mill less cards for the burn effect. But you're trying to go, I'm going to punch for like a full level's worth of damage nearbout, and then I'm going to mill that many cards from the bottom of your deck to try to burn. So it's cool. It's high risk, high reward. That's how a lot of Weiss stuff works in general. The higher the risk, the higher the reward, because if the higher note, like let's just go with the base before you like trigger anything, trying to swing for 4 damage is still not that bad, because cards in the past have done, like, say, Last Shot Xenon. Their climax combo effect is pay a cost to burn for 4, and then their damage goes through. You could almost look at it as like that, where it's her damage going through, her soul goes through first. It's kind of like the Last Shot Xenon effect of burn for 4, and then it's random as to if you do other damage after that. But this is all dependent on, say, if your opponent plays a money counter that says this character can't deal damage, you can still make them mill, but it won't do any burn whatsoever if you hit any climaxes, if they use one of the money counters on it. But it's whatever. It's still really fun. I feel the thing that's going to put in the most amount of damage for exact amounts, especially to close out games, is going to be the Aya. But if you need to really try to close the gap between you and your opponent very quickly, this Kasumi does everything you want it to. So it's pretty cool. But once again, you get 4 copies of it in the deck anyway. If you don't get the like the SR version or whatever, which was like $20, by the way. The RON was like $50 or $40. I was like, what the fuck? But you get 4 copies of the Aya. So you can just pick up 1 copy if you 1 copy of the intro deck, and then pick up like a couple extra copies of the RONs. Do be careful, they're floating. The regular versions are floating anywhere from like $4 to $5 a piece. And anything else that you want to close out number wise, this is kind of just like a baseline to do what you want. I would say try to grab like a level 2 backup character or something from the booster set itself to upgrade this, so you're not sitting on just +2Ks. But these are also free 2K backups, so it's kind of whatever. Especially because late game, you're gonna like your stuff's big enough as it is. You can typically stop a lot of stuff with just the 2K backup. And you want to save what stock you can to be able to drop as many of these as possible. So that's whatever. To each their own. But honestly, I was very surprised by how fun this intro deck was. I was very surprised. It's one of the more solid ones. There's some trial decks that are just not good. I also love how it's called an intro deck, but all of the codes say TD, which is the trial deck stuff. So I don't know if they just decided not to change it over. It's just kind of weird, bro. But yeah, no, this is the rest of the deck. I hope you enjoy. Once again, this is just from the trial deck cards. If you want to use stuff from the booster set to upgrade it, do that at your leisure. But this is just, grabbing the trial decks and hitting the ground running. So thank y'all very much for watching. Please subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for checking out the Trial by Fire video, and we will see you on the flip side. Peace.